3, 2. Hey, every guy. Hey, every guy. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the epics in the game that are non-void, that are not food, meaning these are epics you want to keep. If you come across these epics, do not get rid of them. If you're a newer player and you're wondering, hey, I just pulled the purple character, should I keep it? Is it someone I should work on? If it's on this list, it's probably worth working on for at least one portion of the game. There are going to be good epics that are not on this list, but the ones that I put here are, in my opinion, kind of the cream of the crop when it comes to the epics. Okay, so the general idea of this video is not to give you an in-depth guide on each and every one of these characters, but to give you the general feeler of the epics that are non-void, that are good to hang on to. Now, I'm not doing the void ones because they're hard to get. These are just going to be characters that a new player could have randomly pulled out of a blue shard and got, oh, here's a purple character. I want to know if it's good or not. Now, we're going to start with the top left, go left to right, just like we were reading, and I'm going to give you a very brief synopsis of why I like this character. We're going to start with Royal Guard. Now, Royal Guard, I have a card for. I'm going to put any videos that I have associated with the character I'm talking about directly above my head here. I'll put it there. And Royal Guard is one of the best epics in the game. You're going to use him for dungeons mainly. He's for wave clear as well as massive AoE damage, as well as huge damage to the bosses. So he helps you with like spider and dragon clearing. He's one of the teams people use for speed runs. Tyrell is going to be your all-around, one of your best all-around attack down champions. He also has decreased turn meter, and this is an all-around great character. People consider him of legendary quality. Aothar, the third one here, he is more used for his 4 poison on a 4-turn cooldown, and that can be pretty effective in clan boss if you don't really have a poisoner. And it's AoE poison too, so you can 4 poison AoE in waves, and that can be pretty decent for a clear. Haikutun is kind of like an apothecary. Can also be a very basic speed lead in all areas for newer players, and is a login reward that was very accessible for most players. Skull Crusher is the next one, and Skull Crusher is, of course, one of the best legendaries. I say legendary, but really it's an epic. One of the best characters overall in the game. One of the only 3 counterattack champions, okay? And besides him, there is a Cope Brawler who's just a poisoner, and is mainly used for clan boss, but can also be used for, faction wars, anywhere poisons would help you. Then you have Jareg, which is kind of a defensive option for attack down type characters. Then we have Ultimate Gaelic, which was the new Amazon Prime character, and this is mainly used for the AoE HP burn. Then we have Vrask, who is an AoE team healer based upon his health. You have Zargala, who is very strong for clearing Dragon 20, for speed clear, as well as good in Arena. After that, we have Allure. Allure is good because her basic attack can decrease turn meter just on basic attacks. So she can decrease 75% turn meter if she crits on all 3 of her hits. Next to her is Gorgorab, who is a good arena lead, as well as a attack boost, as well as a turn meter boost, and Resurrector, so is used in Arena, as well as like speed dragon runs or anywhere that res is needed. Seeker is another turn meter fill, as well as mostly a arena defensive option. Next to him is Catacomb Counselor. I've pulled this in my free-to-play, and the free-to-play is where I got all these pictures, which is why some are dark and some aren't. And Catacomb Counselor is used as kind of like a replacement for Longbeard. If you don't have him, he just gives you a little bit of a charge, and I've been using him. Next to him is Mausoleum Mage, and is one of the best epics in the game, probably one of the most useful epics in the game, which gives you block debuffs as well as defensive up, and it gives you an extremely defensive option in Arena and really anywhere in the game. Next to him is Zealotaz, mainly used for his forms of CC. Next to him is Spider. Now, Spider is AoE defense down as well as AoE weaken, but the weaken is 15%, and it's a shout, not really like a hit, so it can't hit weak, right? Next to him is Mausoleum Mage on the 3rd row here. Mausoleum Mage, I do have a video for it, put it in the card above, and he is... I consider them the best epic in the game, if not right next to the Skull Crusher. Then you have Sinesha, who pairs with Skull Crown, is kind of just a good tank, as well as helps out Skull Crown. Then you have a support in Doom Priest with a very good passive that cleanses 1 debuff randomly per ally, which is very good. And then we have Grizzled Jarl, and Grizzled was probably the most slept-on dwarf when he came out. He has just look at his kit. He has a lot built in his kit. He has attack down, defense up. You have healing reduction. He's got basically everything in that kit. So anyway, check him out. And then next to him is Rearguard Sergeant, is the other way. It's kind of like a worse Tayro if you don't have Tayro. Just it kind of helps with that. So I love these epics out. If you have these epics, all of these can be worked on. Now, I will say there are some that you should immediately drop and work on if you pull them. These characters are Royal Guard, Tyrell, Skull Crusher, Jaw Reg, probably Seeker if you desperately need arena help, Mausoleum Mage, definitely Miscreated Monster, and maybe Grizzled if you need what he has to offer. I would say those are the epics on this list that, in my personal opinion, would help you the most. Then again, if you need help with Dragon, Zargala is actually pretty good too. She just requires some books, and that is kind of the other unfortunate aspect of it is books. So we're going to talk very briefly about books. Now, some of these epics, like Tyrell, and there is one epic that I'm actually missing in here. I realized I do not have Steel Skull in here, and Steel Skull should be on this list, so you're going to have to mentally add that one in yourself. But for books, there are some epics that need books. These type of characters are like Tyrell needs books. Steel Skull is one of those that need books. Jaw Reg needs books, okay? So, and Miscreated Monster is the same way too. So some of these epics don't necessarily require them. Like a Cult Brawler wouldn't really have to have the books. Royal Guard, the books help a lot for the cooldowns, but you don't have to have it if you're just using them in Spider or something where you only need the moves to go off once. Now, epic books are really the major problem when it comes to characters. So if you do pull these characters, don't feel like you need to throw your books on instantly. Consider them almost like I do with when I pull a legendary, which is this is a good new legendary, but something else could be around the corner, and I'm not sure I want to commit all of my resources quite yet onto this character. So if you pull something like Tyrell, absolutely throw the books. Steel Skull, throw the books. Skull Crusher, throw the books. But if you pull like Zargala, Allure, Seeker even, Zelata, Spider, Vrask, people like this on this list, maybe save some of your books for potentially the next one of these characters to come around in the Gacha game. What I'll show you here is that I have worked on some epics, but even if you work on some epics that aren't on the list, that doesn't mean you can't get use out of them. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have this guy, right, Jaizoa, and you got him from the login and you like him a lot. Well, he's not exactly 100% food. I mean, he does have a counterattack, and if he's one of the only, or if the only epic you have, he might not be worth crunching. You might actually want to hang on to him. Now, if you're using him and you post something better, you're like, well, now I feel bummed out and I wish I had invested in him. But don't worry, because what I would do in that situation is sort of like I did with Preserver. I used her to get her to 40 and to 50 to help my Kel out right before I had Santa Claus. I know I got lucky. Forget the Santa Claus for a second. When I only had Kel and Preserver, I used the Preserver with the Kel to progress in the campaign, and I ranked her up knowing that I was going to end up sacrificing her at 5 stars back into the Kel later. And you can do the same thing with the epics into your other epics. So if you have like this guy, or like Corpse Collector wasn't on the list, but she's not bad, right? If you look at her, she has some poisons here, which are pretty good for someone in my case who doesn't have a lot of clan boss damage yet. I'm probably going to end up 5-starring her and using her, but then crunching her down the line back into one of those other epics on the list. So if you see this list, I would want to encourage you to use your own thought process when it comes to recognizing if you should work on a character or not. I don't really do tier lists. There's nothing wrong with them, but the reason I don't really tend to do them is I don't want to give you guys the impression that if you have the characters I use, those are the ones to use. If you don't have the characters me and other major people use, then you just don't have the right characters. That is not the way this works. And I would even say Stu Gaming, I'll shout out him because I think he does a good job proving that you can, go through stages with just rares and uncommons and things of that nature. So I would say try to stay towards the epics in terms of full commitment that I have recommended before. However, do not feel the need that if some of the epics that you pulled are not the ones listed here on this list, do not feel the need to completely ignore them, as they may help you out, even if temporarily. Okay, and then you can use them into somebody else as they come. Okay, guys, well, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I appreciate your time with me today on the video. If you liked it, please consider showing that with a like. And if you liked it enough to watch more of this garbage, cool. Man, I just need to teach people to post Santa Claus on a free-to-play account. That's really how you do it.